Just a couple of days till spring practice starts. That's coming out of the weekend. We head into the weekend talking about top position battles this spring. However, I'm going to go linebacker. I think we kind of figured that Aaron Beasley and Keenan Peely will start the season as the veteran guys. But I think some of those younger kids, whether it be the two from last year, Caleb Perry and Elijah Herring, or the three freshmen early enrollees, talking about Jalen Smith, Arion Carter, and Jeremiah Thielander, they're going to push those older guys. Brian Jean-Marie, probably the happiest guy in the building over here. He's got options for a change and depth, and I expect him to use it.
Yeah, I think maybe the best magic job pulled was Brian Jean-Marie the last 2 years, getting through 2 seasons at the linebacker position. He dealt with injuries. He dealt with guys not traveling for suspension, all kinds of things. Yet he found a way for that group to continue to get better. Now he's got bodies to work with, which should make for some good competition. I'll keep it on defense. I'm going to go corners. Because you've got an influx of new guys. Then where's Warren Burrell, right? Where's Brandon Turnage? Where's Kamal Hatton? Where does Jordan Matthews factor in? Where does Danico Slaughter factor in? Is Christian Charles sliding inside or staying outside? You got Ricky Gibson in there as well. Suddenly you've got some guys there. And again, all those guys missed last spring. They weren't here. A bunch of them were banged up. So what does that competition look like? How does Willie Martinez go about that competition? Where is the weighted factor of experience versus improved athleticism, length, physicality, all of those things? How does that shake out? Those young guys need to show themselves well this spring. I think that's a good battle.
Yeah, I agree. I'll keep it in the secondary. I'll go to safety, and I'm not so sure Christian Charles will be at corner. I think there's a chance that he ends up at safety this spring. What do they do at safety? Obviously, Jalen McCullough is returning. That's going to be a point of angst with every fan because they're ready for change in the back end. Wesley Walker seems like he's poised to kind of move into that other safety role vacated by Trayvon Flowers. But where does Jordan Thomas land? Where do some of those younger guys, if they move Christian Charles back, where does he land? What's that safety position look like? John Slaughter is a newcomer. I mean, a lot of interesting dynamics this spring. Andre Turrentine, there you go. Like? Just a lot of bodies, and kind of how does it shake out? Again, until they move on from Jalen McCullough, I'm going to go ahead and pencil him in, and Wesley Walker. But I think some of those younger guys have a chance with a strong spring to create some doubt in Tim Banks' mind about sticking with the vets or moving them on to some of those younger guys heading into fall.
Does 2 corners emerge and you feel like to get your best 5 on the field, Danico Slaughter needs to slide inside where he likes the safety spot. I think he's a corner. It's where you ought to leave him. But there's some jockeying and some things out there that will be interesting to watch this spring in the secondary at both spots, the cornerback position and the safety position. I'm going to flip it over to the offensive side of the ball, and I think a battle nobody's talking about is that guard battle. Okay, we're going to talk about the tackle, and it's important. But that guard battle, to me, is really fascinating to watch and see what happens there. You've got bodies who have experience. Jackson Lampley, Ollie Lane, both those guys have played. Spraggins is going to be in there, okay, but he needs to come on. He didn't have the best close to the year, but he's going to be a starting guard. Where does Addison Nichols factor in, right? Andre Couric, the newcomer who's from Texas, where does he factor into that? What does a Mo Clipper look like?
Yep.
Some of these guys that we haven't seen in
Masai Reddick.
What do they look like? There's bodies there. Where are those bodies from a development standpoint for Glenn Ellerbe to get that line right? I think that's an interesting spot because the right tackle is going to be the focus, but that guard spot is a really important position for Tennessee to solidify.
I think it's just the tackle spot in general. I think we all assume John Campbell's going to start at left, which is what he played at Miami. I guess Tennessee could technically put him at right, but I think he's going to feel comfortable left, but the other guys feel comfortable left. Talking about J.J. Crawford and Gerald Mincy. Somebody's got to play right. And the level of comfort that Glenn Ellerbe, Josh Heupel, everybody had with old steady, reliable Darnell Wright, who had a phenomenal 2-year run under Glenn Ellerbe and has since balled out at the combine and everything else. Man, I think he's going to be missed more than anybody. Hendon Hooker, everybody. Hendon Hooker's great, unbelievable, but Darnell Wright was just there, and he was just there, and he never let anybody get to Hendon Hooker, and he kept that pocket clean. And I just think that loss is going to be felt. Is it mitigated though if somebody steps in and can have a good spring and leading into fall camp? I think that tackle spot is very, very crucial. The combination of 2 of the 3, whoever it is, they need them to play well and to have a nice spring. out there on the edge on the offensive line.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's probably not talked about enough with the tackles, last year they overcame a little bit on the left side and just kind of piecemealed it. And part of that was because of Hendon Hooker's escapability. I don't know that Joe has the same escapability level with the quickness. Now, Joe can run. Don't get me, we saw in the Clemson game, they run student body left, student body right. But does he have that escapability that we saw Hendon Hooker kind of get himself out of some trouble with? If he doesn't, those tackles really have to hold up really well this season compared to what they had to do the last couple of years, particularly over on that left side where they just kind of pieced it together. My last one is not the sexiest one, but it's important, right? The biggest play of last year was that ugly knuckleball that went over the upright in the Alabama game to get Tennessee the win. Okay, you got change going on at the place kicker spot. Who wins that job? You brought in Charles Campbell from Indiana. Some people will say, well, they brought him in to be the kicker. You had to bring somebody in to create some competition for JT Carver anyway. So what does that competition look like this spring? They're going to chart every kick. They'll chart it all the way through fall camp before they make that final decision. What do they get, and where do they find an answer at the place kicker spot? Because that's been a nice luxury for Tennessee the last couple of years at punter and at place kicker, where they haven't had any competition or had to worry about anything. They do now.
6 great battles, and arguably the best battle is for who's going to be the backup center behind Cooper Mays. Nobody knows at this point. They're going to throw some bodies out there this spring and see who it is. The last couple of years, you had Jerome Carvin you could always rely on if Cooper went down. It's going to be important to find somebody that can back up Cooper, because he is just as important as anybody on this football team.
No question.
Discuss it all. What do you think the greatest and biggest position battle is this spring? He's Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price.